Yeah,
you get
it's
it. Yes.
clear. It's clear.
Let's look at there's this other notion of Dr. Aminu-Kano, this other part of reaching out to the supermarkets, the manufacturers of this bottle. I mean, in other climes, what they're told to do is follow through. So you're sending that bottle out, you're sending that bag out, follow it. So by the time they finish using it, you're getting it back. Is that something that can be introduced into the Nigerian system?
Absolutely. I mean, I remember not too long ago when we were using glass bottles for drinks, we used to buy empty crates and keep, so that when you go to buy a drink, you will take your empty and keep and then get a new one. Yeah. And there are many other climes where a buyback scheme is there. And even here, I think there are some examples of some collection and a buyback thing. I know of a particular company that is working with schools, and the schools are encouraging the school children to bring plastic from home, and instead of giving the children money, then they do a project for the school. And so these kind of pilots or little examples need to be scaled up and replicated all over the country. But definitely it would happen. And it's not just like the private sector is not just the supermarkets, it's also the manufacturers and across the whole value chain. I'll give you an example. Last week I went to a popular supermarket here in Lagos, and I wanted to take my own shopping bag, which I have bought from them the week before. I bought that shopping bag, but I was stopped at the door going in. They say, sir, you can't take bags in there. If it is our own, we have to make sure that it's not stolen, so we have to put a mark on it. If it is a small Ghana must go, then you need to keep it at the window here before you go in. And they would prefer to just keep loading your goods on so many different nylon bags. Yes. And they would put just 2 items in a nylon bag and then bring the next one, another 3 items, and that's it. So you come out of the supermarket with this swath of nylon bags all
I know
in
that
your
supermarket.
But then when we talk about behavioral change, which is the angle you came in from, how do we take that back to the rural areas? I mean, you see the old woman in the village goes to the market with her nylon bag, as they call it.
Black nylon.
The black nylon bag, that's what they call it. So she goes to the market with her own nylon bag from the house, and then she gets to the market and she gets another nylon bag, which she adds to the one she has and takes back home. So you might get to an old woman's house in the rural area and find many of those nylon bags. You go to the back of her house, many of them have formed part of the soil, so she can't even farm as she should. The productivity from the soil is not as much as it used to be. How can we take this behavioral change? Because that's what we're preaching now. Yeah. Down to the rural communities. I mean, if a PET bottle goes for 20 naira, how much would the black nylon go for?
Go for
1 naira.
Maybe 1 naira. You know, it's good that we started from this discussion from how did we get this far. So we have to trace our steps back. You know, I remember I had a discussion with my mom recently, and I said, Mom, when we used to travel home in Midwest from the East, what did you used to save water for us to drink on the road? We used to stop at a place called Mbidi. We used to stop at a place called Our Mama to buy akara. And my mom just smiled, said, I had this flask, and I'll put cold water in the flask. And when you guys need water, I will give you water to drink. She said, we had a refrigerator where we refill the water from the water fountain. They had the water filtration. We boil the water. Nobody cares to boil water anymore. And then we put it in the fridge. It gets cold, and they serve you in glasses and the rest of them. Those things are diminishing. We did a project in one of the schools in Ikeja. We installed a water filtration system. And the idea behind it was that when we install the water filtration system, the students can come with their water bottles and take water, and they won't have to buy pure water. So when we did that in the school, it brought about a behavioral change. By the next term, you found that the students were coming with water bottles. And once they come, they line up and they take water. Then the people that used to sell the pure water has disappeared. And then the pure water nylon papers disappeared. So we need to engage processes that will enforce the behavioral change. So let's go back to the woman in the market. Again, I'm talking in the village. Again, I'm talking about increasing the value. When you make this expensive, when you get to the market, rather than giving you 2, they will give you 1. And then when you get home and you have 5 bags, like you said, maybe 1 bag is 10 naira, you keep them, you don't dump them indiscriminately because they are of value to you. And by the time you continue this, the next generation will follow up. And gradually you find that we engage in a behavioral pattern that we didn't know how we got there. Like you said, how did we get here now? So we need to retrace our steps back and then reset it and get back to a position where we'll do right with our environment.
While we're talking about incentivizing, there is still technology that can be used. There's also the degradable plastics. What about introducing that in our system?
Yeah, I think, look, I think we are emphasizing too much on only the economic side. You're right, that there are several tools in the toolbox, and we shouldn't sort of leave any one of them out. And alternatives are definitely one of the tools in there. That not just plastics, there are biodegradable other products that can come in. There are paper, there are resins and wax that they use to make all of this, whether it is a carrier bag or whether it's a bottle to drink and so on. So we should be looking at alternatives to plastics. And like the waste management people say, look, it is refuse, reuse, reduce, repurpose, and recycle. We've got to look at that whole chain of things. Refuse plastics where you can do without them. If you have to use them, use less, so reduce. And if you use less, if you use one, then you have to reuse it as well. Don't go for the single-use, throw-away type of plastic if you can. And then repurpose, use plastics for other means that they are not meant for in order to keep them in the home. I saw last week somebody who was making beautiful center tables from used tires, and they were really good, a different purpose from what they were made from, and then recycle. So you've got to look at that whole chain, I think.
Mr. Abolo, you said that people don't boil water anymore. I recall maybe about 15 years ago, we would boil our water, cool it, and put it in a water filter. I don't even see water filters anymore.
No.
Do they still exist in this country?
I don't really see them
with
anymore.
those candles.
Is it the silver type?
Yes,
stainless steel.
with the candles.
With the 2 candles inside.
Yes.
And we drank water out of those for years, and we didn't have any, no cholera, no
and then
dysentery.
we conserved our money.
Yes.
Because now a child...
water is more expensive than soft drinks.
Drinks now. And then the process of filtering water is simple.
So without those filters, how do we filter our water if we don't want to continue to buy pure water or bottled water?
The reality is that we have reached a stage, you know, the world is all about speed now. It's no more survival of the fittest, it's survival of the fastest. So everyone is on the fast lane. Asking people to boil water now is an uphill task. So let's leave that away.
Okay, but abroad, they have filtration equipment that they attach to the water
what I'm
coming
saying,
in from the mains.
on the larger scale, like we did with the school, like we do with the homes, you know. I went to Green School on World Environment Day, and I saw something very beautiful. They had the water fountains, that's the water dispensers, and you see students come with their water bottles, take water from there, and drink it. Like he's talking about, you are encouraging people to move away from single use. So that one bottle can be used 10 times. And then by the time you have a bigger container, so for a school like that, you look at target schools where there are huge numbers and you put in big water filtration plants. and then encourage people to take water from there. So what you need to do is you go there and you refill and you put it in the dispenser to cool it off, or to when you need the water for hot water. So by the time you do it on the larger scale, you'll get more result than wanting to do it like we used to do it, because there's a paradigm change.
Still, what about at homes? How can we, get
what you can do at
clean
home?
water to drink?
Like what I do in my home, we don't use the bottles. So you buy the big ones that are reusable.
Okay.
So you use it and you take water from there.
Okay.
So thank you very much, Dr. Aminu-Kano. In 10 seconds, or final word.
Final word is that we've got to look at it from all angles. We've got to try to change mindset, so there is need for a lot of education and awareness. We need to get people to sort out their waste and make sure they send the recyclables to recyclables, whether through economic incentives or others. Government needs to do its bit. Why we take pure water a lot is because there is no clean potable water around. So that will be one thing to sort out. Companies and private sector and shops need to do. We shouldn't buy 2 Kobo Cola nut and have a black nylon bag to go with it.
Dr. Muktari Aminu-Kano, Director General, Chief Operating Officer, Nigerian Conservation Foundation, and Dr. Paul Abolo, Environmental Strategist. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. Let's hope that the campaign goes a notch higher and everybody begins to buy into it to cut down plastic pollution. Thank you very much. Sunrise will be back in a moment. Please don't go away.